What's up, guys? We're at Death Island.
And this tripod fucked with our interview, so we're gonna smash it.
Yeah, and you're watching Heavy New York! Heavy New York!
What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York. We are back on my rooftop today. First time we've been here in a minute. And we are here with Westchester's own Death Island. It is great to be able to have you guys here. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Great to be here.
Welcome to be here.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you guys here today. I've been meaning to make this happen. It's a long time coming. Yep, and we could finally talk about some of this kick-ass new stuff that you have in the works. First off, Mountains of Ruins and the Tyrannus, these two songs you mentioned that you're making like a trilogy to your Eons of Carnage EP. So is this, so far with these first two tracks that we heard, is this like a good representation of what the follow-up EP or a follow-up full-length album is going to be for the future of Death Island, or is there a lot more tricks and twists that we could be expecting?
What I have to say, I feel like it shows the growth of the band. Especially once we release this third song. I think that third song will be very representative of where we're going with the band. But I would definitely expect a lot of different tricks and twists. We're definitely making some big changes, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, there's going to be like... It's definitely like with this third song, it's going to be a lot more representative of what the next EP is probably going to sound like. But there's also going to be, as he said, a lot of twists, a lot of different stuff, you know, and with the addition of our new third guitarist, Angel, who joined the band back in February, or was it January? I don't know. He joined at the start of the year, but adding him in the band has gotten like our riffs so much cleaner, and at the same time a lot like more angry, if that makes sense. But yeah, no, people aren't ready for what kind of carnage that we're going to bring. I'm so excited for this new EP. I've been listening to the unedited tracks, what we got so far, and I'm really satisfied. I'm excited for what's going to come after even.
Was it always like the intention or always sort of the dream to make like a trilogy or to kind of like create this sort of concept as to follow up Eons of Carnage? Was Eons of Carnage maybe just sort of like testing the waters, sort of figuring out your sound and figuring things out, and this trilogy is almost meant to be like, this is who Death Island is meant to be? A
little bit. Aeons was sort of... It was songs we've written a while ago. I think the first one of those we wrote in like 2018, 2017. Or no, I think we wrote it. Yeah, we wrote it 2018, released 2018. But we recorded in our basement. None of us knew how to record. None of us knew how to mix. None of us knew how to do anything. So it sounded like trash. And so this was our way to sort of give these songs the love they deserved by giving them a proper recording with a producer who knew what he was doing, and bring them to life the way we had imagined them. And then the follow-up was just, I think, was us sort of coming to our own a bit, starting to figure out how to write better, how to work together as a band to come up with new songs. A lot of the songs on the EP was written when Mick was really the main songwriter of the band, while for this new material, we've all really collaborated much more together to make something that we're all very happy with. And I think especially the newest material that we're working on currently, it's... I've never been more excited for anything that I've ever created in my life. I'm really excited to share it with everyone.
Yeah, he basically hit the nail on the head there. Basically, Aeons of Carnage, yeah, I mean, as you said, it was basically almost like testing the waters, like seeing like what we could create, you know. I mean, he was right. I did write a huge chunk of Aeons, but yeah, it wasn't really an intention to call the two singles we released and the third one that's coming. It originally wasn't intended to be a trilogy, but when I was writing the lyrics, and when I read the lyrics back, I was like, there could be someone could interpret this as like a connection in there. So I just did that. I just kind of put that connection in there. I told the guys, I was like, guys, this is like a trilogy. And every time I would nickname it, I would get roasted. So
Yeah, Mick made nicknames for every song, and he would say it every time at band practice. He'd be like, "This song is the Discovery," and we're like, "The Discovery Channel."
and then I'd say the denouncement, and then Jared would yell, "Oh, shut up!"
That's amazing.
And then we said the third one would be we started saying the third one was Defenestrate because we're gonna throw you out a window if you keep saying that.
Well, because I wanted to ask like what sort of made it a trilogy, because when bands have put out like trilogies before, like when you take like Obscura for example, and they kind of like have their 4-album concept, they all visually connect, they all have kind of like similar concepts that are demonstrated. But when I look at like the Mountains of Ruin and then I look at the artwork for Tyrannus, they do have like distinct differences in a way. How do they are they kind of like related in a way?
So I think they are kind of related where it's basically like kind of the same point of view. I felt like all these like messages in the lyrics, all the like themes in the lyrics kind of came from like this same character. You know, the whole reason why I called it the Discovery, the denouncement, and then the third one was gonna be called the Destruction, but Defenestrate's also fine. Basically like Mountains of Ruin was basically about like a person discovering these like mountains of ruin, literally like almost like ruined cities, a ruined civilization that kind of like the ruins kind of stacked up to almost be like mountains, and realized that it was basically realized that he was part of a faith that did this. And then Tyrannus was basically like him officially denouncing that faith and saying, I'm going to turn against you guys. And then this third one will be about like basically him having this weapon that he's going to use to basically completely obliterate that faith who betrayed him and who betrayed all mankind and, you know, caused this massive destruction, you know.
Is this meant to be listened to like in a specific order? Like in order to get Tyrannus, you should listen to Mountains of Ruin first. Is it like that, kind of have like that cinematic chronological aspect to it?
You know, I can say a little bit. I don't think it was consciously done that way, but I think because, as I said, with these 3 songs, we sort of started slowly moving into a different direction musically as well. Mountains of Ruin is like very, I feel like, reminiscent of like Aeons of Carnage and the writing we did there. While Tyrannus starts to bring in the word we use is confrontational feel to it. And then with the third song, which I think I'm going to leak right now, the name of it is Necrohammer.
We play it live.
We play it live constantly, but yeah, so the third song that's going to be released either this month or next month is going to be called Necrohammer. That song really is full in a different direction musically that is very representative of what we just wrote or are currently writing. And
is he gonna go out the window for leaking it now?
Nah, we've been meaning to release this song for the last month, so I think
we're
it needs
Latvian,
to be
so
leaked.
I think Putin can do that for us.
Wow. Okay.
That's a controversial thing to say. I'm sorry.
That escalated quickly.
But Slava Ukraini.
But speaking of which, actually, because I know that like your Latvian heritage is actually like a subject matter that serves as inspiration for your music in a way, and that's something I've always loved in death metal, where like how you saw how Sepultura brought their Brazilian heritage into it. You see how a band like Bloodywood brings like Indian heritage into their style. So like conceptually speaking, like, because when I listen to Death Island, it sounds just as classical as like a Morbid Angel or a Deicide or an Obituary or Cannibal Corpse, but like, so when I listen to it though, is there like lyrically, how do you sort of bring the Latvian heritage into it? Is it like a message? Is it meant to inform the listener? Is it more personal? I basically just asked like 1,000 questions in one there.
No, that's fine. I mean, definitely with the trilogy, that one's more like, it does have, I guess, a little personal edge. I mean, I do, whenever I'm writing lyrics, I'm trying to, like, you know, put a little bit of myself and my point of view into the world in there. But with this new material that we're working on right now, there's a whole lot more, sort of like a different, like, point of view, a different, like, storyline that we're adding in there. Once again, I think it was like unintentionally connected lyrically.
Halfway sort of. I think we realized it earlier on, so it was a little bit intentional, but not really.
But we realized because the name was I guessing I might leak it a little bit. Throw me out the window again.
Don't leak this one. It's too early.
Okay, I won't. But yeah, no. Definitely like when you hear Aeons of Carnage, the song Sekwa, that one has like just a few phrases in Latvian, whereas the trilogy has like nothing really Latvian in it. But if you could think of it in an allegorical perspective, you could kind of compare it to like what happened in the Second World War in Latvia.
Yeah, when it was still occupied by USSR. Right?
Yeah, the USSR.
It was occupied by USSR, then it was occupied by Germany, and then back to the USSR. So we weren't really in a good place either way. So
Latvia was occupied and then fully annexed by the USSR. Actually,
it was basically. I always said it was between a rock and a hard place.
Wow.
So.
And actually, I wanted to ask too, because I've heard the city of Riga is absolutely beautiful, and
it's awesome.
But like, is there like a metal scene out there? Because at this point,
yes,
because I've interviewed bands from Minsk, Belarus. I've interviewed bands from Ukraine. I've interviewed bands from Russia. I've interviewed bands like from Chisinau, Moldova.
Right.
Like,
I got a band for you.
Okay. Oh, we got plug as many as you want.
Skyforger.
Oh, they're from Latvia.
They're from Latvia.
I've heard Skyforger.
All right,
before.
they're awesome. We're actually
So,
we've been a little bit in talks with them because we got to see them this last summer for the first time finally.
They're hoping to come to the U.S. next year, and I'm currently working on a lineup with them. I'm currently working on figuring out specific things. It's going to be an expensive process, but it's going to be totally worth it.
So there is a scene out there, though.
Yeah, so I actually, when we've been to Latvia, I bought 2 CDs that are only Latvian metal band compilations. So it's maybe not the biggest scene ever because, it's not the biggest country ever, not the biggest city ever, but there is a scene out there, and I think it's awesome. I think we need more Latvian metal bands, more Latvian metal representation.
Well, like when people think of like the happening scene or whatever, they expect like you go into the city and then the whole city looks like Ozfest or something like that. It's not how it works.
No,
but like
I haven't really gotten to see much of the Latvian metal scene myself, just because I don't know fully where to look. But we lucked out at the last Dziesmu Svētki, which is the big Latvian song and dance festival that happens every 5 years. Yeah. That Skyforger happened to be doing an event for that. So we went to see that, which was awesome. But yeah, like Skyforger, there's Sanctimony.
There's also the band Mata, which is actually named after their lead singer, Mata Lysenko. It's kind of like, when you think about it, it's kind of similar to Arch Enemy. And she actually gave me one lesson, only because I was able to afford it at the time. Mata, I still want to do another one. I'll let you know. She actually used to be a student of what's her name, Melissa Cross.
Oh hell yeah! So
she's like awesome. Yeah, her band's cool. There's also this band that I think they recently won the Wacken battle a few years ago. Is this band called Varagnorg, and they're from I think they're from the I think they're from Riga. They could be from the Latgale province, but they definitely got a lot more of a folk metal vibe, and they sing in multiple languages, not just Latvian. So that one's cool. I mean, folk metal is somewhat prevalent in Latvia
because folk music is so important to like Latvian culture. So that, like it just makes sense to like tie it together.
I feel like every country has at least one folk metal band that brings their culture into it, like whether it be Mongolia or India or
Yeah, I mean Skyforge is another example of that. Like they do like the pagan folk metal, which is like why I love them so much. Like using like traditional Latvian instruments on like a really sick metal song, like a kuokla to start a metal song. It's awesome.
There is also another important heritage for you guys that we need to talk about, and a very important, like, that is in your blood, Westchester.
Yes. Yes.
But because it's interesting because when I interview bands from whether it be like out in Jersey or out in Long Island or Westchester, it almost seems like they have different stories on their take of the New York City scene as well as the scene on their home turf, if you will. I mean, New York City's everybody's home here,
Yeah.
but like in terms of Westchester, is there a scene that is beyond the Kingsland and the St. Vituses and the Lucky 13s that we see here in Brooklyn? Or
I mean, kind of. The main issue is like there's no one real venue to like center around. There's no like the closest venue is probably going to be up in Poughkeepsie, which is the Chance.
And that's pretty far from
that's
Westchester.
about an hour drive from
And
us.
they're closed now, so no one's really going there anymore.
But that's it. So the closest is coming to Brooklyn. But you know, the scene's growing for sure, and like we're starting to like there's two bands that we're really tight with, I Destroyer and Scumbag, from the Westchester scene. Shout out to you guys. And I think we've been like really trying to like stick together and do a lot of shows together. Like we've done a bunch of shows, like just the three of us on one bill, like constantly we do that. So like I feel like while there may not necessarily be a scene where they're doing shows in Westchester, there's a little bit, like there's some like DIY shows here and there. But I think we're trying to for sure build that scene up and make it a bit stronger and tighter. So
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like a lot. I know it's a lot of times like there will be like a local band who will go like, "Oh, there's no scene here." There is definitely a scene in Westchester County. However, what I usually say it's like it's pretty scattered. Like in when you talk about metal in general in Westchester County, like there are bands. You just really like need to like look for them.
I kind of wanted to end this interview talking about just like our different influences as well, because every death metal musician, no matter how hardcore that they are, and no matter how no matter how brutal that they are, nobody ever starts off with Cannibal Corpse or starts off with Morbid Angel. So
I feel like we have a really great story for
Okay.
how we got into metal.
I
feel like we have at least to me, it's the funniest one. We got into metal because of the Final Countdown.
that Europe song.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I've heard Stranger Gateway Drugs.
I was in 3rd grade. You were in 6th grade. We got into the Final Countdown like
I was in 5th
hard.
grade. I was in 5th grade
So then
when
I was
that
in 2nd
happened.
grade. So we got really into the Final Countdown.
We got really into Europe in general. I
well,
mean, if you listen
after,
to their
because of the
Uh-oh.
Final Countdown.
Europe. So
influences, outfluences, whatever you call them.
I went from Europe pretty much to Avenged Sevenfold, I think.
Yeah, I went from Europe. No, there was a little Slipknot in between.
It was Guitar Hero. After
was
Europe,
Guitar
we
Hero.
found Guitar Hero.
Yeah,
and
we
that's
found
where
Guitar
we got
Hero.
everything.
We found Slipknot, and and then basically me and Jared would like. Jared's our guitar player. He and I have been best friends since like 6th grade. He and I would like kind of like, basically like go, "Oh, have you checked out this band? Oh, no, I'll check it out. Oh, have you checked out this band? I'll check it out." And, back and forth.
And
then
I was
a
a
lot
little
of that
brother
would bleed
absorbing
into
everything.
Carl. And then we basically, like in high school, got into like when Death Island formed, it was kind of like near the end of my big like metalcore phase and the start of my my love for death metal, and we were kind of easing into it. So our music, we were like.
So was Death Island almost like Killswitch Engage at one point?
It was so bad. We
It
don't
was-
talk about
trying
our
to
first
be-
year.
We were trying to be the next Avenged Sevenfold, and we failed miserably.
Okay, first off, okay, just checking the recording again. But okay, first off, if you were trying to sound like Waking the Fallen era, City of Evil, or even self-titled, that's okay. The last album.
It's one of those like
It's not like we didn't. It's not like we don't like that music. It's just we didn't know how to write.
play music.
We didn't know how to play music, nor did we know how to write music.
I had never picked up a drumstick before. He asked me to play drums just because he didn't know anyone who played drums.
Oh,
And
no,
so
I
was
knew
like,
people who played
okay.
drums. I didn't know anyone who wanted to play in a metal band. So
Close enough.
they were all lame. Yeah, you hear that, John?
So I had to teach myself how to play drums, which I failed at, and so it wasn't until like 2 years into Death Island that I started taking lessons.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, was there at all like sort of like pinnacle moment? Because you said it started with Europe, then it started with Avenged Sevenfold, but like, and how did it eventually morph into death metal? Like, was there like a band that
I can tell I know for me, the band, it's a bit of a weird story. It wasn't a death metal band that got me into death metal. It was Trivium. Because up until before I listened to Trivium, I hated like screaming and growling and like all the harsh metal vocals. Because I was in like 5th grade, and so I couldn't get into it. It wasn't until I heard In Waves by Trivium that I was like, I heard Matt's like combination of screaming and singing. That was like, oh, okay, I kind of get it now. Oh shit, I really get it now. I got to check out everything. So that's what started it for me. That's how I started listening to like death metal and stuff.
I mean, for me, it started with just simply Amon Amarth, Death Clock, Arch Enemy, mellow death, and then it kind of grew to death, and then death grew to Cannibal Corpse, and then then I was really had a long deathcore phase in high school.
Same.
Yeah, and then like after we graduated high school, was basically basically like the renaissance of Death Island as a band happened in 2017, 2018 when we wrote Adultari Dei Demoni, which was in Annals of Carnage. Eventually, after Annals of Carnage, leading to our second renaissance, which is basically what we're going through right now.
Yeah, which is awesome.
It is awesome, and Death Island, almost being 10 years old as a band.
This year we're 10 years this year.
10 years
crazy.
this year.
So wait, you guys are what, 20? You were 15 when you formed or something?
I was 12.
I was 15, yeah.
Oh, you guys are like Max and Igor Cavalera.
Yeah.
But Latvian.
Yeah. and judging by like the sonic warfare that our riffs have been bringing lately, it's been constantly compared to those two, and I have no problem with that. Sepultura fucking rules.
Hell yeah, it does. So before we go, I want to thank you both so much for your time today and for such an awesome interview. And we're gonna fuck up this tripod as soon as we're done.
So excited.
Yep. Is there just some?
You're serious.
I'm damn right I'm serious.
Oh, hell
Is there
yeah.
just anything else with Death Island you'd like to promote? When we could be expecting Necrohammer, the new single, and when could we be expecting any shows coming up that you're allowed to talk about at this very moment?
Necrohammer, we don't know yet, but this month or next month?
This month or next month, absolutely, Necrohammer. Right now, we do have one show announced. We have August 3rd at Massapequa in the VFW Hall with a bunch of hardcore and metalcore bands. But it's gonna be fun. We're gonna like scare everyone with our camo pants, and then we got Back from the Dead Fest. Gonna be rejoining with our homies in Sick Bay, in Soul Debt, and Torn in Half, and all those other guys. So that's gonna be fun. And then we also got a show up in Rochester in Bugjar on August 24th. Stay tuned. So anyone up there, come hang out. We're also coming to Staten Island before that. Hasn't been announced yet, but whatever. I'll spoil the surprise. Staten Island, August 22nd. It's going to be fun. And then we might have something on the 23rd, but right now that is TBD. So
hell yeah.
we're busy.
Thank you so much. Everybody, we are here with Death Island. We will see you next time on Heavy New York. That tripod, you are going down.
Hell yeah. Shout out Alex Haber. Sickest interviewer in New York.
So, guys,
Everybody go get tattooed by Alex Haber, please.
everybody get a tattoo from Alex Haber. Look at this. Look at this. This is
That was one of my first ones. Do not show that.
the Air Nomads are proud.
Hey, I don't care.
Now
They
we're
look
gonna
sick.
fly off this
They look awesome.
Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next time on Heavy New York.